Hi, welcome to Budget MTG Decks. All magic fun, all cards are under $1. I'm David.
I'm Stefan.
And today we're going to be looking at all the black cards in Rivals of Ixalan.
You're gonna evaluate them for limited, like draft or sealed, and like your upcoming pre-release. In your upcoming pre-release you'll get 4 packs of Rivals of Ixalan and 2 packs of Ixalan. And if you want to see the set review of Ixalan, you should click on the link.
Exactly. We're going to be evaluating these cards according to our 3-tiered system. Tier 1, those are excellent cards. These are the cards that are going to be winning us the game. Our Tier 2 are good cards. They push us in a color or auto-include if we're already in that color. Tier 3 are our filler cards. Make sure we have a nice smooth mana curve, and the rest of the cards we're going to put those aside because they're either bad or too situational. Now without further ado, let's have a look at all the common cards. The first of our black cards is Grasping Scoundrel. For single black, it is a 1/1 human pirate, and it gets +1/+0 as long as it's attacking. So it is, for 1 mana, it is a 2/1, but only on the offense. And considering that this card, the 1 mana drops take up the same position in your deck as the 2 mana drops, it is substantially worse because it also can't even block efficiently. So we're going to put this card aside.
Yeah. Dusk Legion Zealot. 1 and a black, it's a 1/1 vampire soldier, and when he enters the battlefield you draw a card and then you lose 1 life. For 2 mana 1/1 isn't exciting, but you draw a card, losing a life isn't that relevant, but that card is. Which means it's good early game because you draw a card, you get a body, and late game you just like cycle and you have a body. So that's so good. Tier 2.
Yeah, always play this if you're in black.
I will always play this.
Yeah. Then we have Moment of Craving for 1 and a black. We got an instant. Target creature gets -2/-2 until the end of turn, and you gain 2 life. The 2 life doesn't really matter, but it is conditional removal, being able to hit those 1 or 2 toughness creatures. Very nice against those annoying flyers, for example. It's not even a combat trick, but you can also use it as a combat trick to take down even larger creatures. So, very nice. Tier 2. Always play it.
Dinosaur Hunter. 1 and a black, it's a 2/2 human pirate, so it's already good enough for a filler. And when he deals combat damage to a dinosaur, destroy that creature. So it has dinosaur death touch,
something like that. Yeah.
It's at least a good filler, and it has upside against dinosaurs.
Exactly. Yeah. Just use it as a filler.
Yeah.
Just a 2/2 for 2. Then we have Fathom Fleet Border for 2 and a black. It's a 3/3 orc pirate. So for 3, you get a 3/3. That's a really good deal. That's above curve, pretty much. And when he enters the battlefield, we do lose 2 life unless we control another pirate. So I think it's totally worth it to lose that 2 life in order to be able to have this super aggressive creature that can both attack and block efficiently so early on in the game. And even late game, 3/3 is still nothing to trifle with. So I think it's a pretty good filler card. The art just doesn't seem to fit in with the rest of the art of the set.
Yeah, it's a really different art style.
Somebody went, I'm going pastels. Like, we're doing everything on computers now. Nah, I'm going pastels. I'm doing pastels.
Yeah, but I like the art, and it's a good creature.
Yeah, definitely.
So, good filler. Voracious Vampire. 2 and a black, it's a 2/2 vampire knight with menace. And when he enters the battlefield, target vampire you control gets +1/+1 and gains menace until end of turn. 2/2 for 3, not bad. Menace, that's good. And with upside of having another vampire, getting +1/+1 menace for once, also really good. Probably not gonna use it. Still, tier 2, I will play it, and with the upside, it's just really nice.
Yeah, I compare this kind of to a 2/2 flyer for 3. That's really good. That wins games. No different with the 2/2 menace. You may think, oh, but it's very easy to block. In practicality, you'll notice it's very difficult to block a 2/2 with menace, and it gets through most of the time.
Yeah.
Then we move to Gruesome Fate for 2 and a black. It's a sorcery. Each opponent loses 1 life for each creature you control. On practicality, early game it does absolutely nothing. Late game it might deal 3 points of damage to your opponent, maybe 4. That's simply not enough to be warranted the mana cost or that card. So please put it aside.
Next one is Recover. 2 and a black, it's a sorcery. Target creature card, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand, and then you draw a card. Tier 3 for me, it will replace itself. You get a creature back, only 3 mana, but you have to have a creature that you really want to get back, else it will stay in your hand and you can't use it to just cycle. So yeah. Tier 3.
Yeah, so early game is not very good because you need to really wait till late game. However, a later game it does become so good in the sense that you can get your bomb back, your evasion creature, plus it also draws you that card, so that gives you a lot of gas, as you would say. tier 3 filler card.
Yeah.
Dark Inquiry for 2 and a black. So for 3 mana, it's a sorcery. Target opponent reveals his or her hand, and we're going to choose a non-land card from it. That player discards that card. Don't play this card in limited. The chances of being able to get something good are very small, and it does once again cost you a card. It costs you the mana, and of course it costs them a card too. But better just play something that's actually good, and better put in actual removal, which will be sure to hit the best thing you want to get rid of. Whereas this, they might have something, they might have a land. You don't know.
Yeah, exactly. It's just you don't. It will be bad if they don't have anything. So you can, if you top deck this, it doesn't do anything.
No, so dangerous late game.
And if they don't have anything good, then you just
wasted. You wasted potential.
Dusk Charger, 3 and a black. It's a 3/3 horse with ascent, and it will be a 5/5 horse if you have the City's Blessing. So we got +2/+2. 4 mana 3/3, a good filler. 4 mana 5/5 is a lot better. So late game it only gets better.
Yeah, mid game it's fine. Late game it's fine.
Yeah,
that's actually pretty good filler. High on my list of filler cards actually. Then Vampire Revenant for 3 and a black, one of my favorite pieces of art of the set. It is a 3/1 Vampire Spirit with flying. I love my 3/1s for 2, but giving it flyer, paying an additional 2 mana to give it flying, I think it's a very good deal. I would say tier 2, always played. If they don't have a flyer, this thing just knocks them out in a few turns. It's so incredibly powerful.
And it can trade up with also the bigger flyers too, so that's also nice.
Super nice, yeah, love it.
Impale, 2 and 2 black, destroy target creature. It's a sorcery, tier 1, unconditional removal. You want to play this.
In common.
In common. Unconditional removal in common.
Beautiful. That's a thing of beauty. Not the fact that the person is getting brutally slaughtered, but...
I know, that was a bit...
yeah, but still, great card. And Canal Monitor is next for 4 and a black, so for 5 mana, it's a 5/3 lizard. Tier 3 filler. If this would have been a 6/2 or a 5/2, then it would have been unplayable. The 2 toughness because it trades with bears. But the fact that it has 3 toughness means that yes, it is filler, it is playable. And of course, with the 5 power, should they not have something to block with it efficiently, then you're dealing tons and tons of damage. But still, the 3 toughness means you better get a creature which maybe has a little less power but has some kind of secondary ability or utility, where you'll get more value out of it. But still just a 5 filler card.
Yeah, I always prefer my more bigger butts than power, but yeah, it's still 5 power and that's still a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are the commons. Let's have a look at the uncommons.
Our first uncommon is Oathsworn Vampire. It's 1 and a black, it's a 2/2 Vampire Knight, which is already good enough, and it ends battlefield tapped. And you may cast Oathsworn Vampire from your graveyard if you gain life this turn. So it's a good filler. It won't be able to block when it comes in, which isn't that bad. And if you gain life, you can cast it from your graveyard. So that's actually really interesting. And it's a good filler.
Yeah, I still think most cases you won't have the life gain, so then you're paying 2 mana for a 2/2 which enters tapped, which means it's less good than a standard filler card. But if you do have some ways anyway, even if it's just one time to gain that life, then it's definitely just a filler card, because later in the game, doesn't matter when you gain that life, you can just recast it from your graveyard.
Yeah, and just that value, just that added value is actually really interesting.
Yeah. Reaver Ambush is next for 2 and a black. It's an instant exile target creature with power 3 or less. That's great. That's tier 2. That's conditional removal. Exile, awesome. There's plenty of creatures you want to get rid of with power 3 or less, either utility creatures or just 3/3 beaters that are coming at your face. So, and the fact that it's instant speed pushes it over the top. Tier 2, amazing removal.
Yeah, it's really good. Just exiling instant speed.
Beautiful, yeah.
Forerunner of the Coalition. 2 on a black, it's a 2/2 human pirate, and when it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a pirate, reveal it, shuffle your library, and put a card on top of it. And when another pirate enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life. That draining 1 life isn't that relevant. 2 mana, 3 mana, 2/2 is actually not too bad, but yeah, you don't really want to play it. It's still a tier 3, it's not that great, it's not that bad. I mean, 2 mana, 3/3
Yeah, it's filler. You can put it in as a filler.
It is a filler.
Yeah, but only if you have a couple of other pirates.
Yeah.
And they need to be pirates that are not fillers. They need to be, when you're searching for a pirate card that you don't draw immediately with this card, it needs to be a pirate card that is going to be pushing you towards winning the game, which means either tier 1 or tier 2 pirate.
Yeah, and still like searching for, knowing that you draw something,
it needs to be something good.
Yeah, but the thing is, this is already behind curve, and then you draw something else next turn.
That's also maybe behind curve.
Yeah, so it's a bad filler.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's bordering on putting aside, but still, it's a decent body.
You can play a 2/2 for 3 mana.
Yeah, and that's the point. It's still a filler, but it's still a bad filler.
Correct. Sadistic Sky Marcher for 2 and a black. So for 3 mana, we get a 2/2 flying lifelink. Now we're talking. And additional cost to cast this guy, we're going to reveal a vampire card, otherwise we're going to pay 1 extra. Okay, so we're going to pay 4. Let's just assume we're going to pay 4 mana, because once again, we can't guarantee we got that vampire. So paying 4 mana for a 2/2 flying lifelinker. Awesome, very good. Does 4-point life swing difference when it's attacking, because you gain 2 life, they lose 2 life, so that's a 4 life swing point. And of course, the evasion means that you're going to be hitting it, being able to get through. Awesome art as well. All that put together means it's tier 2.
Yeah. I mean, flying lifelink is really nice.
If you search for this vampire with the last vampire, then you're good.
The vampire 4/1. Yeah. Arterial Flow. 1 and 2 black, sorcery. Each opponent discards 2 cards. If you control a vampire, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Like we said before about the discarding. And late game, it doesn't do anything. And they can choose, just put it aside.
Yeah, too much chance it just does nothing later in the game.
Yeah.
Golden Demise is next for 1 and 2 black. It's a sorcery with Ascend, and all creatures get -2/-2 till the end of turn. But if it's late game, we get the City's Blessing. Only our opponent's creatures will get -2/-2. So this is basically like a small board wipe. Incredibly strong. You choose when it happens. Early game, of course, you can play around it because you know what's happening. Late game, when the board is stalled, you're just like, it doesn't even matter because you got the City's Blessing, so you're just hitting them anyway. Very, very strong. Tier 2. Love it.
Yeah, that's
beautiful.
Just insane.
And only 3 mana. It's a great deal.
If you City's Blessing with a board stall, you just like kill everything and just shrink everything and just attack with it.
Yeah, all their small blockers can't block efficiently anymore.
And the big blockers are like small.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. Awesome card.
Pitiless Plunderer. 3 and a black. It's a 1/4 human pirate. And when another creature you control dies, you can create a treasure token. It's a tier 3. It's a 1/4 for 4. Not as exciting, but a good blocker. And when something dies, you get a treasure, which is worse later on when not much will immediately die. So, tier 3 filler.
Just a body, a blocker, and a rampy.
Yeah.
Right? That's just filler. It's fine. You can play it. Then a card that you must include at all times is Ravenous Chupacabra, which is for 2 and 2 black. So for 4 mana, we're going to get a 2/2 Beast Horror. Now when this little guy enters the battlefield, we're going to destroy target creature opponent controls. It doesn't say anything about it not having to be non-black. It doesn't say anything about it being non-artifact. It is breaking all the rules, all the conventions. This Chupacabra does not play by the normal rules. It says, you know what? I don't want to be all discriminatory. Just tell me who to kill. I'll kill it. It's fine. As long as it's a creature under opponent's control, that's the one thing. I'm not killing anything. I'm going to kill a creature of the opponent. And I mean, it's awesome. It's a thing of beauty. It's unconditional removal, and it's also a stick. It's also on a body. A 2/2, which is, once again, it's already so much more relevant than if it would be a 1/1. All in all, this is the kind of card that wins games because it's beautiful.
Yeah. As we see in the comments, for 4 mana, it's unconditional removal, and this unconditional removal for the same mana cost with a body. So that one was already tier 1. This is tier 1 in a bit.
Yeah. Tier 1.5.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Mausoleum Harpy. 4 and a black. It's a 3/3 Harpy with flying and ascent. Enough creature you control dies. If you have the City's Blessing, put a +1/+1 counter on Mausoleum Harpy. So for 5 mana 3/3 flying, it's already good. If it's late game and you have the City's Blessing, something dies, it will only get bigger, and this is flying, and it's already big enough.
Yeah.
Tier 2.
Yeah, even on turn 5, you pop this down as a 3/3 flyer. That's it. You're already ahead.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job. That is the last of the uncommons. Let's have a look at the rares. The first of our rares is Dire Fleet Poisoner for 1 and a black. We get a 2/2 flash death touch creature, so that's awesome already. That's already on curve. That's above curve. And additionally, when this guy enters the battlefield, target attacking pirate we control is going to get +1/+1 and death touch at the end of the turn. Okay, so you can use this card in a number of different ways. You can either use it on turn 2 to give yourself for 2 mana a 2/2 death toucher. That's great. Awesome blocker, awesome attacker, fine with that. Later in the game, when your opponent attacks you with a creature, you've got nothing, and they attack you with a good creature, then you can flash this thing in, block with a 2/2 death toucher. They lose their thing, you lose this thing, but you know, they weren't expecting anything to kill it. Or scenario 3, you've got a small pirate that you can just attack with. It's already done its enter the battlefield ability or its raid thing or something. You're attacking with, they think, oh, what's stupid? Why would they attack with that? Okay, I'm going to block that your stupid little pirate. Then you flash this Dire Fleet Poisoner. You give that creature +1/+1 and death touch, and then those two trade, and then you still got your 2/2 death toucher. All scenarios which are good early, mid, and late game. Perfect example of an awesome card. Tier 2.
Yeah, I always want to play this. Dead Man's Chest, it's 1 and a black, it's enchantment aura, enchant creature an opponent controls. When enchanted creature dies, exile cards equal to its power from the top of its owner's library, and then you may cast non-land cards from among them for as long as they remain exiled, and you may pay any mana as those were mana of any type to cast those spells. So it will do a lot of things. You enchant someone's creature, you kill it, and then you exile top of opponent's library, and then you can cast those spells. You have to pay mana for them, and that's a lot of hoops.
Yeah.
So just put aside, because you're losing a card, then you have to kill the creature, and then if you have to have something good in that top, and if you don't, it's just wasted cards, wasted resources.
And even if you do something good, these still gotta pay for it. So you're jumping through
Exactly.
18 hoops just to get screwed, pretty much.
Yeah, so just put it aside.
Don't play it. Tomb Robber for 2 and a black. It's a 1/1 with menace, and we can pay a colorless or a generic mana to discard a card, and this guy explores, which means we're going to be revealing the top card of our library. If it's a land card, put it into our hand. If it's not, then we're going to put a +1/+1 counter on this guy, and then we're going to either put it all back on top or throw it in the graveyard, the card. So it's kind of like a scry-ish type of thing. In essence, a 1/1 with menace is unacceptable for 3 mana. That's not going to do anything. Don't want to play that. The potential to pump mana into this would be nice if you could explore every time you paid 3 mana or something, but the fact that we also have to discard a card means we're setting ourselves up for a disadvantage. We're only not giving ourselves a disadvantage when we're getting a land, but then we're not getting counters. So this thing's also staying small. So we actually want it to become bigger. So actually what we're doing is we're semi-scrying, we're getting a +1/+1 counter, but it's costing us a card and a mana every single turn. I think that's just not going to be enough.
No,
So,
the only card you were able to draw is a land.
yeah, but that's not helping this guy.
No, exactly.
So it's just bad.
Yeah.
Put it aside.
I mean, if you would be able to like draw a card that's not a land, then it would be interesting.
Yeah.
But
Or if it didn't cost a discard to do this.
yeah, exactly. More expensive mana would be fine.
Yeah.
But the discarding is so steep of a price.
Painful, very painful.
Fona's Hunger. 2 in a black instant. It has a sand, and each opponent sacrifices a creature. But if you have the city's blessing, instead each opponent sacrifices half of the creatures he or she controls, rounded up. Which means most of the times someone who has to sacrifice 1 creature, and then they choose the worst thing. So don't play this.
Yeah, it's only good in the scenario where late game they only have their bomb.
Yeah,
But what are the odds? Yeah.
Or you're on a board stall and they have a lot of creatures, so then you can get through with it while attacking. But
The fact that they're always going to pick their
Yeah.
worst thing is just unacceptable.
exactly, and that's the point. They can choose.
A rule of magic, which I just made up. No, a rule of magic is if you don't want your opponent to make the decisions for you, because they will always, if they're a good player, they will always make the decision which is least beneficial to you, which means the card is less efficient, least efficient as it could be.
Yeah.
And that's just bad. You don't want that. You always want the cards to be as efficient as possible at every stage of the game. Masterminds acquisition for 2 and 2 black. So for 4 mana, we're going to choose one of 2 things. We're either going to search our library for a card put it into our hand, then shuffle our library. Or we're going to choose a card we own from outside the game and put it into our hand. That basically means our sideboard. So we can pretty much get any card from either our library or our sideboard while we're playing the game and put it into our hand so we don't lose a card. It does cost us 4 mana though. However, the fact of being able to be any copy of either our bomb or our best removal or the best situational removal that we didn't even decide to put into our main deck makes it tier 2. I would always play this.
Yeah, you can just search up anything.
Yeah.
Champion of Dusk. 3 and 2 black. It's a 4/4 Vampire Knight, which is already really good. And when he enters the battlefield, you draw X cards and you lose X life, where X is the number of vampires you control. Most of the times, it's a 5/5 for 4/4 for 5, which will draw you a card
and lose your life.
Tier 2, you drawing a card. It's amazing. A 4/4. Just play it.
Super strong.
Yeah.
Love to see this on turn 5. Yeah, people sometimes say, okay, you talk a lot about the bad cards, and then when it comes to the good cards, you're just very short, and then you go into the next card. But that's because when a card is really good, all you need to do is point out, that it has the good stats, that it has a good ability, and then for the rest, just say you play it, because that's all you really can say about really good cards. But really bad cards require a lot of explanation because there's a lot of problems in logic why some people think bad cards are good, and those have to be explained why in these situations, because of statistics, those apparently good cards are still bad. But good cards, when they're objectively good, especially as good as this, there's very little you can explain about it. It's just you just tell it what it does. And
exactly, because really the worst case scenario is already so good, and it can only get better.
Yeah, absolutely.
The thing with this one is though that you may not choose to not draw and lose life. So if you have 3 vampires and you're low life, then you have to draw 3 cards, you have to lose 3 life. That's the only is. So
interesting. Yeah. However, very unlikely that scenario. That's a lot of scenarios which there's a lot of things that need to happen for that to be applicable.
Exactly. But still, so it's so good, you always want to play this.
True.
Tier 2.
Absolutely. We go to the last of the rares, Tetsimok Primal Death for 4 and 2 black. So for 6 mana, we get a 6/6 with Death Touch. I'm sold right off the bat.
Yeah.
So here, then you're just like, all right, that's it. That's your bomb. Great, we're winning the game. But there's more. For a single black, we can reveal this card from our hand, and then we're going to put a prey counter on target creature. Any creature we want, but it's going to be our opponent's creature. And we can only
You're not going to put this on your own.
I'm not going to put it. I'm obsessed with killing my own creatures. No, we're going to put it on creature or opponent's control, basically. And we can only do it in our turn, so it's as a sorcery. Actually, it's not as a sorcery.
It's not a sorcery, but it has to be in your turn.
Kind of like a sorcery. Can't do it in a sorcery. So, and then when it enters the battlefield, we're going to destroy each creature your opponent's control with a prey counter on it. So essentially, early game, we can start pumping any excess black mana we have, so mana sink, into putting prey counters on all opponent's stuff. The beauty of it is, late game, we can, if we've mana flooded, we can do it, we can put all the prey counters and then cast it immediately, kill a bunch of creatures. Early game, we can start putting little guys on for then later when it comes in, we destroy the stuff. And the third way that this can work is you start it super early by putting the first counter on a creature, and then our opponent's afraid to play any more creatures because they think, well, you know what, in a couple of turns, they're just going to, every turn they're just going to put another counter on, and then late game, they're just going to play this creature, and I'm going to lose all my creatures, so that kind of stops them from being able to play efficiently anymore. So it's not even about what you're killing, it's about getting in your opponent's head and saying, okay, I've got this thing now, I've already put one counter on there, make sure that this is the only creature that dies when this thing comes in. And the only way you can do that is by not playing any creatures. And that is going to set them back a lot.
Yeah, but it's just so many things you can do with it. It's so cool.
It is incredibly strong.
Yeah, and even without the other abilities, 6/6.
Beautiful. Beautiful thing. Yeah, absolutely.
Tier 1, you want to play this.
Those are the rares. Let's have a look at the mythics.
The black mythic is Twilight Prophet. It's 2 and 2 black. It's a 2/4 vampire cleric with flying, already good. And has Ascent. And what does it do when you have Ascent? At the beginning of upkeep, if you have the City's Blessing, reveal the top card of your library and put it in your hand. And then each opponent loses X life and you gain X life, where X is the card's converted mana cost. So you draw extra cards when you have City's Blessing, and then you drain people for that converted mana cost. That's insane, and it's already a good creature on its own.
Yeah.
tier 1.
I wouldn't even mind losing life myself to be able to get extra draw.
Exactly, that's what we normally do.
Yeah, we're like, alright, we'll draw a card, we'll lose life. But now we're like, not only are we gaining life, we're also making our opponents lose life. So this is bonkers.
Yeah, tier 1, play this.
Yeah, get woke, people, play this card. That's me trying to be hip, you know? I'm gonna
Emphasis on trying.
Exactly. Let's go on to the conclusion.
In conclusion, black, as always, unconditional removal, good unconditional removal, in common, in uncommon. It's so good. And still, the other cards also really good. I mean, what more do you want?
I love that the relative strength of the cards is actually amazing. I really love the power and the toughness that these creatures have. I like the fact that we've got plenty of menace, you know, so we got some evasion, we got some flying. Black does not want in any department. It's got the bombs.
Yeah.
It's got the evasion creatures. It's got the good removal. It's got excellent filler cards. I wish it was a little bit more death touch. I mean, we only have death touch on the rare and actually on the rares. That's unfortunate. I would have loved to see at least a death toucher in the uncommon category.
To be honest, I'm really happy there's not too much death touch, because that means my opponent also have that many death touch, and that's really annoying.
Yeah, and at least with black, we'll have the best removal that the set has to offer.
And that's insane.
Even the stuff that gives either all the creatures -2/-2 or a specific creature -2/-2, it's very, very strong. There's a lot of stuff, especially stuff you want to kill, like, once again, those evasion creatures. They will have 2 toughness. You can just get rid of them so efficiently. Black is, I think, potentially the best color in this set so far.
Yeah,
for
because
limited.
it's so many good removal, and that's what really draws me into black, and always draws me into black, because it has so many really, really good removal.
Yeah, and sometimes in other colors you may have, okay, this is a really good rare, and this is another really good rare, and these other rares are useless, but here most of the rares are just really good.
Yeah, and even not looking at the rares, it's still good.
Yeah. So that's really good. Now we'd like to invite you to head on over to patreon.com/budgetmtgdecks and have a look at our Patreon page. Patreon is basically a website where you can support your favorite content creators, and if you go there you can subscribe for as little as $1 a month, and you'll be helping us make more videos and help us improve the quality of these videos, and it would really help us out a lot if you do that. So we really appreciate you heading over to patreon.com/budgetmtgdecks. It's also really cool. They have we have rewards there for different tiers, and there's an interesting video of me getting hit with multiple pies, which you can check out over there.
That was fun.
Yeah. Then also,
but it also helps us improve the quality of the videos.
Yes.
That's also important.
And torturing me, which is also good.
Which is a good bonus.
Then we'd like to invite you to subscribe to us here on YouTube for the most powerful decks and advice everyone can afford. And if you do subscribe, don't forget to hit the little bell button to make sure you get a notification. Be part of the notification squad so that you get notification for when a new video comes out. Next video, of course, is going to be the red Rivals of Ixalan set review. So press the bell button for that. And of course, also head on over to our social media accounts, to our Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, where we post pictures, comments, we share ideas, we have discussions. So if you want to get in touch with us, that is absolutely the best way, at Budget MTG Decks. You can check that out. That's it. Thanks for watching. I'm David.
I'm Stefan.
And this was Budget MTG Decks.